aspect of them having to fight their families. That's the trauma. To be together, that's the bind, right? So they both fighting their families to see each other. The trauma of fighting the family is making the bind tighter and tighter.
That was kind of my situation right there.
Right. Yeah. So the repetition, to break free of the trauma, the only thing you got to do is recognize that the trauma exists. You recognize it, you acknowledge it, and then you release it because you didn't cause the trauma. Somebody else gave you the trauma. If you caused the trauma, you forgive yourself for the trauma you caused. And make a vow to yourself, not nobody else, that you will try not to inflict that trauma on anyone else. Right? But don't take other people's attempts to trauma bind with you as your rejection of that, as if you did something wrong. You ain't supposed to let nobody trauma bind with you if you self-aware. You genuine love connections, you have genuine loyalty, you have genuine affection, right? And all of this is before there's any other links like sexual or anything like that. The genuine connection first is established by two people just being a genuine self, right? And by you being your authentic self, it makes people gravitate toward authenticity. It's like moths to a flame. They don't have to agree with you if they feel the authenticity. They still gonna come see, well, what else is he being authentic about? Even though that sounds like some total quackery to me.
Yeah. That's right.
Right. So we want to get away from the trauma bind by acknowledging your trauma. And if somebody inflicted the trauma on you, you release it back to the universe. I don't want that. You got a right not to accept the status of victim in a universe where you're supposed to be deified. You don't have to be nobody victim. It's not in your book of life. It's not in my book. It ain't in nobody's book of life that's walking around on 2 feet, call themselves a sentient human, that they are required to be somebody else's victim. But your ignorance can drive you in somebody's lane and get you ran over.
That's right.
Right? Your disrespect will put you in somebody's crosshairs and get you cut down. Right? Your lack of self-control will make somebody put pinstripes across your windpipe, DMX.
Yeah.
Right? So the better you have self-control and the more you focus on your agenda, you don't got time to worry about what nobody else doing. Everybody stop what they doing to watch what you doing because you blowing past the world. You become a meteorite in life.
That brings me to the next question, and it ties into because all this time I got a lot of good questions. Now, that what you just said remind me of a scene with Malcolm X, and you said he self-control. Now, in that scene, you're gonna remember the scene. He walked in. Remember, he walked into the bar, and the guy was taunting him, bullying him, right? And he kept on bullying. Malcolm X let him say all that, but then when he said somebody's mama, see now. When he said somebody's mama see now you know where you can talk about me now. You can talk me down, talk about me like a dog. But when you say something about my mama, now that go back a long way because the mama thing set a lot of people off. Like you say something about people go to joking and then you say something about somebody's mama, that's a prelude to let me sock you. Mama said knock you out. So could you go in on a little bit of that?
Mama's boys.
Yeah.
Them mama's boys and mama's girls. Mama's baby, papa's baby. You say what you want about pops, I might laugh it off, but you say the wrong thing about mama, I might check your chin.
I'm telling you.
Right? It's the energy exchange. We protective of our mothers. If she was a loving mother and a caring mother, like mine was, we protective of our mother. Right? And she got to always counsel us. This is the meaning of becoming a Mason.
Okay, that's right.
The mama is molding the son to be the proper man that any woman he have got a winner.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
They think masonry is about compasses and squares. Those are metaphors. You know, the square is the four corner shuffle. That's the motherland, right? The circle is the two wall cane,
That's right.
right? That's how your fatherland operate. So the compass and the square is the mother and the father working together to mold the son into becoming something greater than he would be had he followed the edicts of the local society.
Go ahead.
The society at large can't teach you what you learn through your family lineage is about character. Your parents gonna be your first role models until they tell you to believe in something called a superhero. Well, before superheroes, we had the Lord, we had the Orisha, we had the Netaru, right? We had the great Thunderbirds
Uh-huh.
before superheroes. Batman came from Mesoamerica, southern Mexico,
Yeah.
right? He was Chief Kozo. But we don't know that the modern comic strip writers hired on staff at a major comic distribution company is being taught Sumerian stories, Egyptian stories, Native American stories in order to fashion
That's
all
right.
of the characters in the comics
That's right.
around the ancestors of the people they making fun of by making caricatures of the real people on the screen to make money off of it because like a magnet our genetic memory to who was at one time one of our leaders is drawn back to him in the form of a animated figure. He ain't real. So now they done undermined your connection to your family tree,
That's right,
right?
bro.
So now you can't extract the energy of a Sun Wukong from Asia, a Hanuman from India, right? A Tahuti from Egypt. You can't channel that energy because they've hijacked your family tree's connection to these ancient ancestors of yours that built the civilizations of the world for trillions of years in cycles within cycles, yugas within yugas, ages within ages, in a downward spiral. Unless you're on the other side of the universe, it's an upward spiral, right? But if you're between the two, you at the middle, the funnel comes to an end on you accessing both sides of the spin, motherland, fatherland, activates the macabre body. The labor intensive requirements of that, man would put himself in the grave before he ever used that level of self discipline to become what he's supposed to evolve into. So you have to upgrade the genetics of the children coming in. So the sages whisper in the ears of Mother Earth and tell her what the problem is. And the mother's lament and her tears during her pregnancy forms the remedy to the problem that she's crying about during the pregnancy. That's why Elijah say the prayers of the woman is answered through the womb. Okay, now once these things take place, they go into something called the field. The field is how you program the DNA. In the South, they say, you mark that baby. Look, he got your birthmark. You mark that child, right? Or he got his granddad. He look just like his granddad. That's that granddad come back. They know because the field opens up the connection to the family land. You can only come back to the one you love the most, right? If you the one you love the most is gonna carry the strongest pull on the heartstring, which is the sympathetic link to the ancestral line that causes the manifestation of the affection in the womb of the one you love the most. Or if it's coming from father's side, the son you love the most, it's still got to go through his chromosomes by permission of his mitochondria in unison with the woman he connect with. And the men who can get the male child is the blessed ones because it's so difficult to even produce a male child. If people knew how difficult, if the men knew how difficult it was to produce for a woman to have a male child, he would honor his position as a man with a whole lot more reverence of the self. You don't know what you had to go through to get here. 777 billion sperm cells, and you made it to the egg. The character persona that became you. But not only that, in the vagina of the woman, there's a natural spermicide that kills Y chromosome semen, sperm, spermatozoa, the ones that's the strongest with the Y. Because some sperms got two X's. That's how you end up making a girl. But not only that, in the first trimester, something like in the neighborhood of 60+% of spontaneous abortions is the male child. Right? When you get into the second trimester, it's still a high 50% of male child spontaneous abortions or miscarriages. And in the final trimester, right, a sizable portion, now it's only about 25% of the male child that started out during the same 9-month gestation that's present. But it's going to be an alarmingly high level of stillbirths in the male children still. Right? So every man is a remarkable addition to the human race because we go through so much to get here. But if we don't know our role, we can go through so much to get put out of here. Right? And that's how a lot of us causes our own suffering. Misusing our masculine self to abuse those weaker than us. Bullying. I'm a bully beater. You on mute, Al. You on mute, Elder. You on mute. You talking up storm, but you on mute.
Yeah, okay, dang. Okay, my bad. Okay, so you speaking about the bully thing, and it's this guy that was a major YouTube guy, a host on Jump Man from the 40 Crips named 4Extra, who he popped the fireworks, the 480 explosive fireworks, and blew his whole arm off, blew his hand off. But before he blew his hand off, he was a guy that went around, you know what I'm saying? To me, he was a bully. To me, he was a bully. And the last guy, I think.
In LA culture, he not a bully, and I'm explaining to you why.
Yeah, I'm finna say that too. But like from some perspectives, he'll be a bully. But I'm gonna tell you why I feel like he was a bully. In some senses, even after the guy said, "Hey man, you know, I didn't know no better. I'm cool, man. I'm sorry." You still press him. In LA, we used to like, oh, if he don't want no static, oh, cause he don't want none. Let him make it. Let him, stall him. Cause that's what we say, stall him, right? So he wasn't stalling nobody, right? And then like right before he got his hand blew off, he went after 607 pretty hard. I watched the video. Boom, then he get his hand blew off. So do you speaking things out? Because we're still talking about linguistics. Because Tupac, we know Tupac might not be there. We can get into all that, but speaking things into existence, saying because he said that I'm gonna go right before he blew himself up, arm blew off. He said I'm gonna go blow somebody up. I'm gonna go throw this in somebody's house. I'm gonna go blow somebody. I'm gonna blow somebody up right now. Right, and then 2 hours later, he ended up being the one he blew up. So could you go in on? Is there some reality by speaking things or saying things Because I didn't experience saying I'm gonna go, man, I'm gonna go smoke this guy, because it was a guy that killed my cousin, and the police didn't do nothing to him, right? Because they had set my cousin up to make it like he had robbed him, right? So I was like, man, I'm gonna smoke that fool when I ever catch him, right? And I never could find them fools. And then that dude moved downstairs from me, right downstairs from me, bro. Right? So it's like I spoke him up, like I'm gonna smoke that fool when I see him. They brought that fool right downstairs from me. So it's like, when you think 4 extra by him study saying I'm gonna blow somebody up, I'm gonna, being in that type of energy that he brought the blowing up of himself to his own demise?
I think he was carrying with him something called careless energy, right? Careless and reckless energy is twins. 607 got, I don't know, y'all can't see spiritual stuff, but
right. Go ahead.
If you ask a seer to look at him, he got protection with him, spiritual protection.
I told my old lady.
Personally, I never talked to him, right? But if you really listen to what he be saying, he be accurate with the information. He using the ODB Chief Crazy Horse energy, in order to tell the truth without the system collapsing on him.
Mm-hmm.
The ones who understand the culture best will know what 607 Unc is doing, and then they'll be like, oh, let me get the jewels out of this, because he finna be dropping some jewels on the low, but he putting this energy out there. He's channeling the same energy ODB did, Chief Crazy Horse. The Crazy Horse energy is not just a person in the history books. To the tribes, it is a living frequency that we can use to conceal ourselves, being out in the open, and make the establishment not crash on us. Geronimo is the energy of a military commander. So if you see Geronimo in the history books and you parallel him with Geronimo Pratt, you will realize that GINDJAB was the real deal. That's why they sent him from Mississippi to Oakland and to aid in the organization of the military strategy of the Panthers. But when he got out there, they knew why he was coming, so they framed him for a homicide that the police did.
Yep.
Right? His crime scene is almost identical to Big Tookie's. When you look at the crime scene, if you could do a comparative analysis, it reads similar MO. Right? They said that Tookie was with one of the Crip brothers smoking Sherm, and he passed out. And they said that in his unconscious state, he grabbed a couple of Crips, went and robbed the store and murdered somebody while he was unconscious. You got to remember that part of the story, right? So we channel the energy of ancestors, and it's almost like being possessed by the ancestor. And all of the ancestors come with spiritual protection. When you channel their energy, you also inherit, because you got to have a certain frequency to even assimilate the energy. So you inherit all of the spiritual protection that comes with channeling that ancestor. Not saying that that energy is the cause of the dude losing his hand, but I wanted to put that out there about 607 because I see clearly what he's doing. So a lot of people can be offended at his structure of delivery, right, and his appearance. That's his protection. And with that appearance, it comes what they call ghouls, which is similarly dressed disincarnate entities from his family line that's dressed similarly to him. And they don't play about it. That being said, the brother who lost his hand, that's a tragedy.
And he that same hand, he was up in there, at 607 on.
Yeah, let me cook.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, now I say this is why I say he wasn't a bully. he was like Candyman. If his set or his name don't get put in it, you won't see him. Right? But when you start speaking on him, he gonna make you answer for it one way or the other. If you man enough to call him out, you supposed to be man enough to run the fade. Right? That's not what Crazy Horse Energy do. Though Crazy Horse Energy will run that fade and they will put one in you.
Yeah.
Right? But Crazy Horse Energy understand the power of us as a collective unit. It don't want to go to war with the soldiers from the bloodlines.
That's what he was trying
to do. So it'll find a way out of that conflict. Right? So I don't think he was necessarily a bully. He just didn't back down. Right? He didn't say he want a problem, but when you say you want a problem, he like 50 Cent. He say, no problem. Right? In California culture, if you speak on somebody's business, you got to be ready to stand on it as the truth or admit that it's the lie.
That's cold.
If you can't stand on what you blow out your head, they gonna box your face. Ain't no backing down once you said the wrong thing to the one that they sent to correct you. You shouldn't have put my name in put my business out in the street. That's Cali culture.
Yeah, that's right, Rod. You right.
Right. So when you understand I don't even live in California, but I got relatives out there, and I know people who were born and raised there that end up moving this way and discuss the culture. I'm able to understand the mechanics of their culture. So that when I do decide that I want to go to LA or I want to go to the Bay, or if I want to go to the Valley, I'm welcome because they know I'm not going to disrespect the tribal culture that's natural to the land. Right. Now, I might disrespect their police and their governor because they don't belong here.
Right.
But they going to be cheering me on if I do because they know they don't belong here. Right? They just don't know what we were supposed to be doing at the OG level of making the alliances and informing the youth so as they don't keep making the same repeated mistakes of taking their allies off the battlefield in friendly fire.
Right.
So our natural culture made us, the ones who didn't go to the military, learn military strategy, fighting streets and war in the streets.
Yeah.
We still got to learn how to defend the land. What if they dismantle the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines right now? Whose responsibility is going to be to secure the land? Right. The tribes. Don't nobody else got that responsibility. Anybody else that's securing and protecting the land right now, thank you. But that ain't their job. That's the tribe's job. We are the ones with territorial jurisdiction to govern over the land. Right? We the ones that's supposed to have the final say in what form of government is ran across the land. If they're going to be isolated communities or if they're going to be a unified network.